Everybody, welcome to the earliest alert. I'm going to keep that title going for a bit longer here as we have another round of rain coming our way and thunderstorms, and of course we've got to update the latest on the river stages. Now this is as of this recording. You see that the time there saying 8:06. We'll get updates as the day wears on. Let me show you a couple of these here. Of course, we'll get one listed in the major that's lit up the charts. And notice, this is the Ohio River downstream, so it's not really an upstream deal, but it does affect some of you that live near there. Right now, it is at that major status, barely over 50. That is the cutoff line, and you'll climb maybe another inch. And then notice how you stay relatively steady for the rest of the week. That is important as well. Going to the south here. Now, we've got green gauges listed here for the Green River as well as portions of Rough River. So they're not at the flood stage level, which is good. But we'll monitor. Those tend to react a little more to day of events of rainfall. All right. Now, the Rolling Fork. It is certainly at a moderate flood stage at 44 feet. Forecast to drop maybe an inch as we head toward midday today, and it holds to that level all the way through at least through Friday before it gets below the major or the moderate flood stage. So Rolling Fork issues will continue. For the Sauk River, it's also a very dramatic up and down type of river. And notice it stays fairly elevated all the way through at least the Wednesday into Thursday time period, but we have more rainfall coming. So we'll see how this affects the Sauk River in Shepherdsville and Bullitt County. It's basically already at the moderate flood stage now of 35 feet. Okay. When we look at the lower gauge of the Ohio, highest levels, we're talking about since 1997, 67.2 as we approach noon today. I wouldn't pay much attention to the end forecast, that drop off, until we get a better handle on the rain. I'll explain more on that in just a second. The upper gauge, same story since 1997, with the crest coming in about 36.1, more than likely we'll see it toward midday today. And then, again, don't pay attention to the drop-off there. Going to the north, East Fork of the White River into Seymour, 17 feet. That is at a moderate flood stage, forecast to drop, pending rainfall later in the week. And the other side of it is you head toward Lawrence County at Rivervale. Same story, about 28 feet. Still got a rise expected of it above 30 feet, which would put you guys into moderate flood stage for a bit longer. All right, and then one more here to the east. This is going to be Kentucky River at Lockport. Right now it is at minor flood stage, forecast to get back to normal pool levels or get close to it later this week at 35 feet. Hope everybody got all that. I know it's a lot to keep up with. The Ohio, again, is always the last to react to things, and then the other rivers feed into that. So, today looks to be the day that a lot of these rivers are going to be cresting. So, they do account for the next 48 hours. But the next 48 hours are mainly dry. Just beyond that is when we have more rain coming our way, and that's something we need to address. Okay, so first off today, we have some showers in southeast areas of Kentucky. We've been holding on to Adair County for a while. You guys have had to deal with clouds and off-and-on showers most of the morning. It's working its way out. Give it some time, but it is going to clear out of there, which is certainly some good news. And relatively quiet weather for us, as I mentioned, the next 48 hours. Really nice weather, in fact. Temperatures above normal. So let's get right into the model outlook here, and this is the Euro you're looking at. The blue line, the darker or the wider blue line there, is the rain-snow line aloft, and the white line is the freezing level at the ground level. All right? Those will become important down the road. In the short term, it's a warm forecast. So we have two waves of moisture coming our way this week. One's going to be Wednesday. It's going to be a general light rain, perhaps some moderate rainfall as we get into Wednesday. And I think rain totals from that could be about a half inch in some spots. That scoots off to the east, and then we get this next system. But here's the thing about the next wave that I'm noticing in a lot of trends on some of the other models, is that as the low works its way out, a band of thunderstorms will develop. Now, if this band can become a little more horizontal, now it's bad for them, all right? This is a classic flash flooding training scenario nightmare for Arkansas, really, for the Mississippi River, which is already out of its banks. Much worse of a flooding deal going on there than we have. But this horizontal band would be bad for them. Now, for us, it would be good because it would act as a block, a shield, if you will, that will try to limit how much that deep moisture can get from the Gulf of Mexico right up 65 into Louisville and the areas of Indiana. It also will limit our ingredients for severe weather a bit. So we'll see how this plays out. I think there will be some sort of a block there that may help us out, but southern Kentucky may still feel the punch of that. But here in Indiana and northern Kentucky, we may get lucky. Just stay tuned on that, because if we were to get more of a south flow built into the system, then we will be talking about the potential for severe thunderstorms and some very impressive rain totals. But we'll err on the side of caution, what is most likely to happen for now. Then here comes the rain-snow line. Yeah, it does wrap it behind it. I can't rule out a few flakes. It may mix some of this. I think that is going to be more of an issue for Cincinnati and East Kentucky. May see a bit of a rain-snow mix Thursday into Friday. Not a big deal. But it is going to get cooler briefly, and then we try to moderate. In fact, the weekend doesn't look bad. Right now it looks like 50s, maybe even 60 by Sunday. But then another wave moves in. Monday night and Tuesday. Same setup as really the past several ones have been, with severe weather potentially around Arkansas, western Tennessee, maybe West Kentucky. We'll have to see how much that can get into our area. We'll have another round of heavy rain with it. And then after that one, then we get cold. And then we got to start talking about more of a wintry pattern developing versus a more warmer, stormy, wet pattern. We'll begin to change gears just a bit as we head through March. Not entirely, but at least we get more of a north flow. It's bad news if you want spring weather, because that will be a colder flow for us in March. More on that, of course, in the coming days. But let's talk about the rain totals. This is the overall deal for the Wednesday wave and the Thursday wave. Potential for at least an inch. But our southern counties will be more at risk for some of that horizontal band to work its way into Kentucky. And if that's the case, you could go over 2, maybe even 3. But the thing is, southern Kentucky can handle, at the moment, a heavy rain event like that. This type of rain event of 1 inch to 1.5 inches will cause some flash flooding in some cases, especially the smaller streams, and it will impact the Ohio River as far as slowing it down on its receding process for later in the week. If this heavier band were to move north and we get it into Indiana and the Ohio River Basin in general, and then we're talking about 2 to 3 inches, in that case, flash flooding would be a mess again for the area, and the river flooding would accelerate back up again. The Ohio River would begin its climb. So placement as well as the rainfall amounts are important with this for midweek. And as I mentioned, I'm betting right now on the idea that block to the south will keep everything mainly south of us, but we'll take it one day at a time here as we get closer. The severe potential from the Storm Prediction Center, they're aiming more of the southern flank there. I like that look because of the training impacts. Again, I don't see much happening here, which is good. Even in the CFC models, don't pay attention to the date here. They're a little off sometimes on timing, but it aims the higher potential for severe weather. Mainly West Tennessee, Arkansas, and Memphis is where they have it building up. And then for the wave for next week, next Monday and Tuesday, about the same spot. So you really got to feel for our friends down in this area, because they're getting hammered over and over again with severe weather and flooding, and we're getting our own impacts. So don't get me wrong, but it is worse in other spots than what we are. All right, once we get past that front that brings the colder weather in, I am seeing trends for mid-March. This is the Euro showing how we're going to get that blocking over Greenland. But this time around, we get a trough to develop in the eastern coast, and the northwest flow kicks in. So it's a colder setup, and even the GFS agrees on that nearly same idea, that we'll get more of a blocking pattern and turn colder than normal. That's important, because normal now is 51 degrees. 40 to 45 is colder than normal. Does it mean we're going to get snow at that level? You can, but more than likely not. So just because we're saying colder than normal does not guarantee snow, but it does put us a little more closer to that wintry pattern setup. More on that again in the coming days. We got to get to this flooding first. Make sure to go to way3.com if you need help, and contacting the Red Cross. If you know friends or family that need that number, go again to way3.com. All right, guys, we'll talk soon.